On March 8, 2014, a Boeing 777 carrying 239 souls vanished into thin air. No distress call. No wreckage. No answers. Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 didn't just disappear from radar. It erased itself from existence. And almost 11 years later, we still don't know why. This is the story of aviation's greatest mystery. Welcome back to I'm your host, and today we're diving into the most perplexing aviation disappearance in modern history. What you're about to hear isn't just another plane crash story. This is a mystery that has baffled investigators, captivated millions, and left families searching for answers that may never come. Before we begin, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because we cover the most mysterious and unexplained aviation incidents every week. It was a routine red-eye flight. Nothing suggested that March 8, 2014 would become a date etched into aviation history forever. Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 was scheduled to fly from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. The aircraft was a Boeing 777-200ER, one of the safest and most reliable planes ever built. Captain Zahari Ahmad Shah, a veteran pilot with over 18,000 flight hours, was at the controls. First Officer Farouk Abdul Hamid sat beside him. Behind them, 227 passengers from 15 different nations settled in for the 6-hour journey. At 12:41 a.m. local time, MH370 pushed back from the gate. The weather was clear. All systems were functioning perfectly. At 12:42 a.m., the aircraft was cleared for takeoff. Within minutes, the massive Boeing climbed into the dark Malaysian sky, its lights blinking against the stars. For the first 38 minutes, everything was completely normal. The plane followed its designated flight path, climbing to its cruising altitude of 35,000 feet. Air traffic controllers in Kuala Lumpur monitored its progress without concern. At 1:19 a.m., Captain Zahari made his final radio transmission. "Good night, Malaysian 370. His voice was calm, professional, routine. Nothing indicated distress. Nothing suggested what was about to happen next. 2 minutes later, as the aircraft crossed into Vietnamese airspace, something inexplicable occurred. MH370's transponder, the device that transmits the plane's identity, altitude, and speed to air traffic control, simply stopped working. The plane didn't fall from the sky. It didn't explode. It just disappeared from civilian radar screens. But this is where the story becomes truly disturbing. Military radar continued to track an unidentified aircraft, later confirmed to be MH370, as it made a sharp turn westward, back across the Malay Peninsula. This wasn't a gentle course correction. This was a deliberate 180-degree turn, taking the aircraft completely off its planned route to Beijing. The plane flew back across Malaysia, passing just south of Penang Island, then turned northwest toward the Andaman Sea. Someone or something had taken control of MH370 and was flying it in the opposite direction. For the next 6 hours, the aircraft continued flying. We know this because MH370's satellite communication system, independent of the transponder, continued sending automatic, handshake signals to an Inmarsat satellite. These signals, never designed for tracking purposes, would become the only clues to the plane's final path. At 2:22 a.m., military radar lost contact with the aircraft as it flew beyond their coverage range. But the satellite handshakes continued. At 2:25 a.m., ping. At 3:41 a.m., ping. At 5:03 a.m., ping. Each signal was like a heartbeat from a ghost, proving the aircraft was still airborne, still flying, somewhere over the vast Indian Ocean. The final satellite handshake came at 8:19 a.m., more than 7 hours after takeoff. Then silence. MH370 had exhausted its fuel and, somewhere in the southern Indian Ocean, descended into the dark waters below. But where? And more importantly, why? What followed was the most expensive search operation in aviation history. The initial search focused on the South China Sea, along MH370's planned route. Ships, aircraft, and submarines from multiple nations scoured thousands of square miles of ocean. They found nothing because they were looking in the wrong place. Once satellite data analysis revealed the aircraft had flown south into the Indian Ocean, the search shifted to a remote stretch of ocean west of Australia. For nearly 3 years, underwater vehicles mapped 120,000 square kilometers of ocean floor, an area roughly the size of Pennsylvania. They discovered old shipwrecks, underwater volcanoes, and trenches deeper than Mount Everest is tall. But they didn't find MH370. In 2015, something remarkable happened. A piece of aircraft debris washed ashore on Réunion Island, a French territory in the western Indian Ocean, more than 4,000 kilometers from the search area. It was a flaperon, a wing component, and investigators confirmed it came from MH370. This was the first physical evidence that the plane had indeed crashed into the Indian Ocean. Over the following years, more debris washed up on beaches across the Indian Ocean, from Madagascar to Mozambique to South Africa. Each piece was analyzed, and many were confirmed as coming from MH370. The ocean currents were telling a story, carrying fragments of the doomed aircraft across thousands of miles. But the main wreckage, the fuselage containing answers and the remains of 239 people, has never been found. So what happened to Malaysia Airlines Flight 370? The theories range from mechanical failure to deliberate human action, from the plausible to the bizarre. Theory 1, mechanical or electrical failure. Some experts believe a catastrophic electrical fire or decompression event could have disabled communications and incapacitated the crew. The sharp turn could have been an attempt to return to Kuala Lumpur. The aircraft then flew on autopilot, a ghost flight, until it ran out of fuel. But this theory struggles to explain why the transponder was turned off, why no distress signal was sent, and why the plane's course changes appeared deliberate. Theory 2, pilot suicide. This is perhaps the most controversial theory. Investigators found that Captain Zahari had practiced similar flight paths on his home flight simulator, including routes ending in the southern Indian Ocean with the fuel exhausted. Some believe he deliberately crashed the aircraft, taking 238 innocent people with him. His personal life had complications, his marriage was troubled. But his family and colleagues insist he would never do such a thing. And if this was suicide, why the elaborate route? Why not just crash immediately? Theory 3. Hijacking. 2 passengers were traveling on stolen passports, initially raising suspicions of terrorism. But investigations revealed they were Iranian asylum seekers trying to reach Europe, not terrorists. Still, some believe an unknown hijacker could have taken control. But who? And for what purpose? No ransom demands were ever made. No terrorist group claimed responsibility. Theory 4. Cyber hijacking. A more modern theory suggests someone remotely hacked into the aircraft systems and took control electronically. While theoretically possible, aviation security experts say the Boeing 777 systems aren't vulnerable to remote takeover. And again, what would be the motive? Theory 5. Shoot down and cover up. Some conspiracy theorists believe MH370 was accidentally shot down during military exercises and that governments are covering it up. But multiple nations would need to be complicit in such a cover-up, and the debris found thousands of miles away doesn't support this theory. The truth is, we simply don't know. Each theory has evidence supporting it and evidence contradicting it. The mystery remains unsolved. Behind this mystery are 239 real people. Families who went to the airport expecting to greet their loved ones and instead received only questions. Children who lost parents. Parents who lost children. The psychological torture of not knowing is, in many ways, worse than confirmed tragedy. There's no closure, no grave to visit, no certainty. Some families still hold out hope, believing their loved ones are somehow alive. Others have made peace with loss, but desperately want answers. They deserve to know what happened. They deserve to find their loved ones and bring them home. Today, the search for MH370 is officially suspended, though private efforts continue. Somewhere in the Indian Ocean, possibly in a trench thousands of meters deep, lies a Boeing 777 with all the answers locked inside its black boxes. The flight data recorder and cockpit voice recorder could tell us everything, but they're designed to survive crashes, not to be found in one of the most remote and inhospitable places on Earth. Will we ever know what happened to Malaysia Airlines Flight 370? Will the wreckage ever be found? Will the families ever get closure? As technology advances, as search techniques improve, there's still hope. But with each passing year, that hope fades a little more. This is a mystery that refuses to be solved, a ghost ship of the modern age, and a reminder that sometimes, even in our interconnected world with all our technology, things can simply vanish. What do you think happened to MH370? Share your theories in the comments below. And if you want to see more aviation mysteries like this, subscribe to and hit that notification bell. We upload new mysterious cases every week. Thanks for watching, and remember, the sky holds secrets we may never understand.